Okay, guys, this is a very different video than usual. Now, I'm just making this video for fun. I want to propose my own Deltarune theory. Um, Now, if I somehow end up being right, then that will be great. So, okay, so basically, my theory is that the Roaring Night is death, but like not how like most people think death is the night. Okay, now from my understanding, most people think that death is the night because friend or the pointed tail and whatever lured her and Chris into the forest. Oh, I forgot to draw forest here. Guys, wait, let me draw forest really quick. Wait, that's the wrong tool. Ignore Caddy there for a moment. She's gonna be important later. Okay, so we. Okay, so yeah, that's a forest. So friend. Is there like a laser pointer thing here? Um. No. Okay. Why is there no laser pointer? That would be so useful right now. Whatever. So friend. Is okay. So I'm gonna start from the beginning. Like chronologically speaking. So we know from a dialogue in chapter one. Oh yeah, by the way, spoilers for chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we know from a dialogue in chapter 1 from Caddy that she and Chris at one point like tried to summon a demon or actually summon a demon. I don't remember the specific dialogue, but my theory is okay. I've seen a couple people also make this connection that the demon that Chris and Caddy were summoning is friend. They succeeded, but like they didn't know it worked. So friend, I'm gonna assume that like this thing comes from like a dark world. When Rasley explains what dark worlds are, this thing shows up. So I'm gonna assume that maybe Caddy and Chris managed to summon basically a demon from the dark world, or something like that. And so because it was, and then this thing started looking for Chris. Okay, it wanted Chris because they were the one that summoned friend. Maybe Caddy is like later on gonna have more relevance regarding friend, but for now, Chris is the important one. So one day, Chris and Des were hanging out, doing like stuff, I guess, and then friend pulls up and wait, and basically lures Chris and Des to the forest. I'm gonna be real. When that dialogue in chapter 4 that's like, oh, the pointed tail, the children follow the pointed tail and got lost or whatever. I honestly had no idea I was even meant to scramble the words back. I thought it was just a weird dialogue, so whoops. Lured Chris and Des to the forest because they wanted to take Chris away, and Des protected Chris, and I'm gonna sneeze. I'm sorry. So, Des did not want to allow a friend to take Chris. Wait, this is important. So she basically protected Chris from friend. You know, she got angry like, hey yo, you can't take my friend buddy Chris. And friend, of course, got upset by this. They got upset by this. Wait, that's the wrong color. Wait, no, it's I just need to be like, yeah. Of course, Fred got very upset. Okay, Fred got very upset by this and attacked Des. This attack, because Fred is like some kind of interdimensional demon thing that's like in the code and can teleport in the dark world, like we see in Queen's basement, and it's very weird. And there's a whole friend inside me theory, but I don't know if that has anything to do with right now. Friend attacks Des with like shadow magic or something, and Chris, like Des probably told Chris, "Hey, go get help or something. I'll hold it off." So Chris ran away to get Asgore, chief of the police, very strong, very police guy. And then the two of them returned to Des, to where they were hanging out. But by this point, Friend had attacked her like way too much, and now her body was all like messed. Oh my god, I can't even. I can't do this. I can't do this. Her body. Oh my god, I'm having so much fun making this. I'm recording, right? Yeah, I'm recording. Okay. So, yeah, I'm recording. So, friend messed up Dessa's body and left her in some sort of like half life, half death situation. Let me make sure her face represents that. She got like in this half dead, half like alive state. And like, because Fred is also like sort of like from the code or something, it also like it left her body really messed up, but Fred did something worse to her mind, her consciousness. It whoops. It said it sent Daz's consciousness to the game's code, and that's why there's dialogue in there from that, like this mysterious character that's like, "Hello, can anyone hear me? Where am I? Can someone hear me? Oh my god, can someone please help me? I'm so scared. This is so. I can't tell if I'm dead. I don't know if I'm alive. Can someone please help me? Is anyone out there?" Like, I'm pretty sure that that is Das's consciousness being trapped in the code. And okay, yeah. And with with Das's body now like messed up, probably like how do people do the glitch effect? Like glitchy. Like a glitchy and like messed up, and she's like half dead but half alive. Carol, whoops, Asgore takes Tessa's body to Carol. Just imagine that, like, what color would be best for this? Blue. No, yeah. Just imagine that, like, Noel and Rudy are like somewhere else. Asgore, as chief police, obviously takes Des with Carol because she's also like the mayor and she's like very important. And of course, like he apologizes because he couldn't save her in time. And Chris is very guilty, because it's their fault that Fred was there this whole time. They summoned Fred with Caddy. Is this the same as the erasing? Because like I swear it looks like a different white. They're obviously very guilty from like that secret room thing in chapter 3, I believe. We know that they have like some trauma related to like trees. Um, you can throw in the roots theory. I support roots theory, honestly, because it makes a lot of sense. Also, I'm gonna come clean up with something. Uh, I didn't like get maximum points. So I didn't even know that this even was a thing, and I just thought I missed the secret egg room. And then I tried beating the knight like without the mantle, and like a friend told me to give up because like it wasn't like worth it or something. So yeah, so we know Chris has like like trauma regarding this situation, and I think that if they're the one that summoned friend, that would make them feel more guilty about the situation because it's their fault. Death is like that, and Asgore, turns in Death's body to Carol, and she's immediately like, "This is not gonna stay like this. I am going to save my daughter." And we all know how the prophecy is like. I'm gonna have to make this a bit bigger. Yeah. The prophecy is basically this thing that like everyone knows. Oh my god. Uh, I'm pretty sure it looks something like this. Yeah. The prophecy is something that like it's like common knowledge in the light world. It's not something Rousey made up. It's not something only seen in the dark world. We know that Gerson um wrote Lord of the Hammer. Wait, I need to make this guy justice. Yeah. We know Gerson wrote Lord of the Hammer based on the prophecy. Okay, maybe this wasn't such a good idea. Uh, yeah. We know Gerson wrote Lord of the Hammer based on the prophecy, and that Dragon Blazers is also like based on the prophecy. Or I think Dragon Blazers is based on Lord of the Hammer, but like it's still technically based on the prophecy. So it's something that like I assume that there are like written versions of it uh like out there. So this incident would have prompted Carol to start researching. What's a good color for research? Blue. Yeah, yeah, it's the same as her antlers. This would have prompted Carol to start researching more about the prophecy in Dark Worlds, because I'm pretty sure that Asgore would have talked with Chris about what have happened. Like maybe not fully, because we know that they're still traumatized and that they're most likely repressing the memories about what happened. But maybe, just maybe, Chris was able to tell Asgore that it was their fault because they summoned Friend, and that probably the ritual they and Cat used was somehow related to Dark Worlds. I'm gonna just represent Dark Worlds with like this, cause yeah, it's dark. So the ritual was based on using a dark world, and so Carol would have come up with the idea or the strategy to precisely use the darkness from a dark world to save Death. Because as we know, monsters, even in Deltarune, not just in Undertale, they turn to dust when they die. Their bodies don't remain like humans. They turn to dust. But Death's body didn't turn to dust. I did not mean to do that. Her body just was all glitchy and shadowy and messed up. And I have no idea if any of these three would have like the slightest idea that Death's consciousness is trapped in the code. Since I have no idea how they would even figure this out, but what they know is that Death is like half alive, half dead. She's very shadowy, glitchy, and messed up. and that using a dark world it would be possible to bring her back. Now, I don't doubt Gerson is like really epic and very cool, but I'm not sure that he would have been able to write a whole book saga just based on like the 20 panels of the prophecy we see in chapter 4. So I assume there are like written versions with more details, and maybe in these versions there's like information or like rumors as to how dark worlds are created, how they work and whatnot. And eventually Carol and Asgore would have stumbled upon the information that it would be technically possible to revive someone using a dark world. Now, I know I basically like threw Rudy out of the equation right now, but there he's gonna come back like right now. Let me delete the barrier around him. Yeah. Um. Honestly, I don't know why I even drew Noelle for this. I don't think she. Well, she's important later, but not now. So, um. So obviously the news also devastated Rudy. Whoops. Like imagine just coming home or whatever and seeing your daughter is just like a shadowy, glitchy mess that's like half dead, and then your best friend's son is like devastated and like destroyed because it was their fault because they summoned a demon from another world and like they want to fix it. And so here is where my theory gets really, really crazy. Okay, so we like it's basically confirmed. I know that the bunker, shelter thing, and the town is like where the knight is like hiding out and operating and doing stuff. So what I think happened is that after the friend incident, oh yeah, I'm guessing friend just decided to like retreat into stalking Chris after Des probably kicked it really hard in the face. Yeah, let me just erase whatever trace of happiness this thing has because it doesn't deserve it, honestly. Yeah. Des is very epic. She's very cool and strong, so she would have most likely been able to fight very well against Fren and at least like damaged it enough for it to retreat and not try to get Chris again. At least until the events of chapter 2, because we see this thing stalking Chris in the shadows and hiding in Queen's basement and whatnot. After the incident, her body was taken. What's a good? Okay, I don't want to use red because like she's already covered in red. I'm gonna use purple. Yeah, she was taken to the bunker, which was later converted, which like Carol converted into a lab. I should actually, yeah. Carol converted the bunker into like a secret lab or something like that. Lab. Yeah. To basically preserve Des's body. Because I'll be fair, I have no idea how glitchy, shadowy bodies work. But I assume that she would want to have it somewhere she could monitor it and like experiment on stuff. And now, darkness from a fountain could maybe in theory help revive Des fully. So what I think happened, okay, this is where it actually starts being like schizophrenic, but what if Carol managed to like extract darkness or something from like a dark world and like mix it with the mess that was Des's body to try to like stabilize her or something. Right? So okay, this actually reflects how it would have turned out. Um like technically she managed to somewhat save Dessa's body, but as we know, uh, like we know from like the shadow crystals that like pure darkness in the light world behaves like really weird and does like a bunch of like bizarre stuff. So this would have led Dessa's body to like no longer being glitchy, like somewhat stable, but still not exactly alive. And this is because her consciousness is trapped in the code. Now, I'm not entirely sure how they would bring her out of there, but like I said, I don't think they'd have any real way of knowing that her mind is trapped in the code. So, now, as you can see, I drew. Is there a way I can get rid of. Okay, as you can see, Springtrap is here. And this is because the first attempt of like bringing back Des didn't work. Her body is like fine now, but it's not exactly what they were looking for. Like she would have looked deeper into the prophecy and would have like found out about like maybe rumors about like darkness patterned after loved ones and not just darkness being able to bring objects to life. Which I'm not gonna get into the debate of like a corpse counts as an object because we know the dust of a monster certainly does, but what about a body? And okay, I want to put brief, not brief at all, but like a tangent here is that Chris and Susie change when they go into dark worlds, right? Chris turns blue, and Susie turns like a brighter pink. Okay, we know dark worlds already change bodies from lightness to an extent, and it's not just like their outfits or whatever. Chris literally turns blue. Susie turns into like a brighter pink. Like usually she's more purple, but she turns into like a brighter pink with yeah, this color of hair looks about right. And even Noelle, when she goes into the dark world, her hair becomes this more like pale blue neon color. Wait, let me see if I can make that real quick. It's like a. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's like this. Yeah, but like neon. How do I make neon in MS Paint? Uh, well, something like this. Okay, you get the idea. Her hair is usually blonde, but it turns into this blue. Like we already know, dark worlds can slightly change bodies. Okay, so Carol's original idea was based around this concept of using darkness. Whoops, sorry, darkness to like fix Dessa's body and like that somewhat work, but not fully. So what about instead of just having the body like infused with darkness, just have it completely in darkness, okay? And this is where the night, the actual roaring night comes into play, okay? Because oh my god, because when fully exposed, like in the darkness, I think that this is corpse basically would basically morph into like this sort of suit of armor thing and would somewhat be able to be herself, but not fully. And this is where Carol's like brain starts getting like even more desperate because she wants to save her daughter, and so far all she's managed to do was turn her into a suit of armor made of darkness and whatever. And so she looks deeper and finds out about the roaring. She figures that maybe the reason this isn't working is because they're still in the light world. Now I know that there could technically be a like a dark world inside the bunker lab, But this is Carol doing experiments, and here's the thing: Carol wants to bring the. I think Carol wants to bring the roaring. Oh my God! Go away. Okay, there we go. Whatever. Carol wants to bring the roaring. Wait, I think I said something wrong. She infused the body with darkness to fix it, but it ended up just like turning it into the night. Wait, I feel like I'm forgetting about something. Dark worlds change bodies. Right, so Dessa's body turns into like basically a suit of armor. And then Carol starts getting really desperate and she hears about and like she learns about the roaring. Okay, now we have seen the night inside a dark world. Two of them actually. Well, three I guess. If you yeah, three because Susie also made a dark world and whatever. But here's the thing. Those worlds are not made of pure darkness. Now I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea how exactly they managed to make a world of pure darkness because in my theory Chris is working obviously with Carol to like make up for their mistake and all. And so they made the dark fountain inside the school. Okay, now I'm pretty sure it's Chris that made it because the dark world in chapter 3 looks very similar to it. But this could be explained with like the actual crazy part of the theory, okay? The Dessa's body is basically a suit. It's not conscious on its own, really. Wait, I forgot to clean that up. Yeah. It's not exactly conscious by itself. It has some remnants of like Dessa's personality or whatever. And it's her body, so that's why the weapon is that like a half sword, half baseball bat thing. They have yeah, I'm not very good at drawing. Yeah, that's why their weapon is like that because it's still technically Des, but not really her. So it's basically like this empty suit. And so Des is the knight. But if her mind is in the code, then how does the knight even do stuff? And this is because I believe that things go so freaking desperate that Carol started wearing Des's body to open dark fountains. And like here's my okay, hear me out. Carol figured that if she brought the roaring, the entire world would become a dark world, and with no light left, there would be nothing stopping Des from coming back. Because we know that there's like a division between light worlds and dark worlds. It's like yeah, like there's a clear like division between the two. And Carol could maybe think that this barrier is what is stopping Des from coming back. I should have done this better. Like this barrier between light and dark is what's stopping Des from coming back. So if she deletes this barrier, Des will be able to fully return to her body and will be able to save her. So she wants to bring the roaring so Des can be fully alive again. Now, why does she have to wear her daughter's body to open dark fountains and do stuff? She wants all of the dark worlds created to be perfect for Des. And if it's technically Des, the one that's doesn't look right. That's opening them to an extent it should be like good for her. You know, like chapter 1, Des likes to like go on adventures and all. Well, actually, wait. Okay, I'm not gonna go into each world specific, but like the first world, the first Dark Fountain. Oh yeah, Chris also had to wear Des's body to open the first Dark Fountain. And I also think Rudy. Okay, now here's the crazier part, because Des's body is essentially just like an empty suit right now. It's really hard to keep it like alive. You know, I'm not entirely sure if okay, maybe like the darkness that they use to fix her body isn't like really the best, and maybe it's like Undertale where like putting too much darkness into like a thing will cause it to completely just disappear and vanish because it's just pure darkness. And so they need something to stabilize it. So Rudy went into the bunker and wore Des's body to keep it stable. And now, as we know that Des went missing a long time ago, and maybe this prolonged exposure to this darkness infused body is what caused Rudy to get sick. Long term exposure to darkness, we're not entirely sure what it does to someone, but I think in chapter 1 there's dialogue about how the food they eat doesn't fill them. So I imagine that maybe long exposure to darkness could be bad to their body. And there's that whole thing that in the night fight there's that part where like they open their chest and like there's an eye inside, and that's why Rudy is an eye because they're sick. So there could be like some kind of like thing in their chest. I think that that could be like a representation of that eventually on like the night. Or maybe this could also be where Friend attacked Des with the oh, darn it, with the pointed tail. It struck her in the chest, and that is why the knight has this eye thing in there, and also why Rudy is sick and is coughing a lot because it's like maybe this damage is extending to him to a degree, and that is why also why Carol and Chris could like be starting to take more drastic actions now, because if Rudy also ends up dying from this or like getting into a similar state to Des, then they're actually gonna be super cooked because there's gonna be basically no one else to keep Des's body alive except maybe Asgore. Okay, now Asgore in this whole situation, I'll get back to him later if I don't forget to. But the important thing here is that Rudy is starting to get like really sick from long term exposure to Des's body. So that's why Carol is wanting to speed up was like trying to speed up things now. They told Chris to open the dark fountain at the school because she wants to test out a pure darkness fountain. She wants to experiment with like the pure darkness that they put in Des's body, if it would be like if it would create a dark world that would be perfect. And we know that thanks to chapter 2 where like darkness from the other worlds that they don't petrify in that fountain, that it worked. And the second world was made by Carol wearing Des's body. Yeah, she made the world wanting to make another pure dark fountain, but this one didn't work. Honestly, Honestly, I'm gonna give Chris a pass on the chapter 3 fountain because after everything and seeing that like it's that like the end is close, that like they could actually achieve saving Des, and also like probably just fed up with the entire situation, made a dark fountain. And I'm not gonna I'm not gonna lie. I have no idea why we the player are there in the first place. I have no idea. I'm not even gonna try to touch that. So, oh my god, I want to there. So yeah, but the chapter 4 fountain was also made by Carol. This one was made in the church because she wanted to test like what would happen with an actual dead monster. Because maybe she was like, okay, what if it didn't work because Des isn't fully dead? What happens with an actually dead person? Maybe she would know that Alvin keeps Gerson's ashes in the office inside of the church. Yeah. And also because probably she wanted to see what that world would look like, because she's trying to make sure all of them would be like technically habitable by Des or the knight by this point, the suit of armor. I don't want that to show. Oh, I have an idea. I have an idea to how to. I'm gonna extend that sideways. So now I can. Yeah, there we go. I'm so smart. So she made that dark fountain in there because she figured that maybe that there are pieces of the prophecy inside the church that wouldn't be available in like written versions, and that maybe she could get more information. Like I said, they're starting to get really desperate because Rudy is sick from keeping Des alive. And and okay, another important detail is that the knight can shapeshift. Originally, I thought that maybe because Des's body is really unstable, it can shapeshift to like disguise anyone wearing it, and like it can also shapeshift. Actually, wait, no, it still makes sense. We see the fight that the knight can shapeshift into like into like a ball and like a bird. Um, wait, yeah, and like a bird. wait, wait. Wait, let me get this right, guys. The others are key details that it has to keep in its bird form, obviously. It can shapeshift. The knight can shapeshift precisely because it's Des's body being like unstable and whatever. And even while being in the suit of armor form, whoever is wearing it can maybe like will it to shapeshifting. And that's why the knight can also like literally like come to think about it, I think could also just be the knight trying to be cool. Or Carol trying to be cool? Des trying to be cool. Let's remember that there are small like remnants of her, like very small in the knight. Like it's barely anything. But these remnants could be the manifestation as to why the knight is cool and whatever, because it's the remnants of Des being cool and whatever. And so Carol wears the suit in the chapter 3 fight and in chapter 4. I believe she currently, like during the events of the game, is leaving it without anyone inside of it while she is out and doing stuff and while Rudy is at the hospital. And okay, Asgore. After having to resign from the police force, I believe that he tried to tell Toriel about what happened. Oh my god, wait. That's not the right thickness of line. I don't really. Yeah, I think that's good. He tried to tell Toriel because obviously out of nowhere. Oh, I can't draw her right. Because obviously, like, out of nowhere, Chris is acting weird. Des is missing. Like, he tried to tell her what happened, but she didn't. I think that she didn't believe him. Or alternatively, I believe that at first, because Carol told him to cover it up, to not tell anyone, he didn't tell Toriel and was hiding the truth from her. Whoops. Because Carol told him to do so. So Asgore lied to Toriel and said, "No, that's what's missing. I have no idea where she is. I'm sorry. I tried my best. I have to resign from the police force now." Because Carol said so. But then Chris was acting off and Toriel couldn't figure out why. And we know from chapter 4 that, like, Carol knows that Toriel knows that Toriel knows that Carol is funding Rudy, is funding Asgore's you know what. So I believe that Toriel eventually found out about the truth and then got, like, really, really, like, mad at Asgore because he was willing to lie to her about Des and all. Like, he had been lying to her for, like, a long time. And when she found out that he was doing it to cover up for Carol, she was not happy, and so she divorced Asgore. And of course, he was like, "No, you have to believe me." And then, like, of course, he then tried telling her what actually happened. No, that's like some a demon Chris summoned attacked Des and left her body in a weird, half alive, half dead, glitchy state. And we're trying to save her. You have to believe me. And of course, Toriel didn't believe him because he probably made up, like, a bunch of lies to cover up everything. And she was like, "Why should I believe you?" And that's why Asgore once is has this dialogue about, like, proving to everybody that, like, he's right about what he saw. And also, this whole, like, darkness experiments is the reason that Asgore has access to, like, a dark shard and all, because that's what they use to, like, infuse Des's body. Or heck, maybe the suit of armor could be something that Carol built with the darkness shards to protect Des's body and to maintain it. Oh, I'm so good at drawing it though. Look at this lighting. Oh yeah, I'm so good at this. But I digress. They infuse her body with the darkness to make the armor, blah blah blah. Okay. So he has access to this and is working with her to revive Des fully. Now, I'm not entirely sure whether Asgore is completely aware of the roaring. Because, okay, this is all, like, very insane. But would Carol be willing to put Noelle in danger for all of this? Yes. Yes, she would. We know from Rudy's dialogue that she's a very strict mother. And even though she is, like, obviously, like, "How dare your friends touch Dessa's guitar? You are grounded. Me. I feel like deep down she cares. And that maybe she's just, like, really stressed out because she's trying to save her other daughter. And I think she's also testing out the dark worlds using Dessa's body to ensure that the worlds are not gonna be, like, once everything is darkness, that it's not gonna be too dangerous for Noelle. Because as we know, I think this, yeah, this blue is nice for the. We know that Noelle and Des had a very strong connection as sisters. It stems to reason that the remnants of Tessa's mind inside the suit would also like connect with the connection. And as such, any world created by Des would like to some extent take Noel into account. And and yeah, I think that's all I have to mention for my theory. Oh yeah, okay, so Chris in particular. Chapter. Oh yeah, the endings. Okay, so we know that Chris has a knife. Okay, I also think the reason the weapon shifts between like a sword and like a baseball bat is kind of ambiguous. Is like because it seems to like come out of the knight's body in the fight. It's unstable because it's like part of Dessa's body and whatever, and also because like remnants of Des, blah blah blah. The object that became it, that could be like Carol's massive katana that she has at home, Chris's knife. Okay, not Chris because in the fight against the knight, we see both of them right there. So yeah, but we know that Chris has a knife, right? They have a knife, and at the end of chapter one, they made this super evil face. It had everybody literally being like, "Oh my god, it's Chara from Undertale." Uh, Chara came back, and now Chris is super evil, and they're in like Chara stole our soul, and now they're disguised as Chris, and blah blah blah. And the next chapter, it's literally revealed that they just went to the kitchen to eat all of the pie. But I think that Chris did this on purpose to throw us off. After chapter 1, Chris ripped the soul out of them. And after like the credits are rolling, they called Carol to tell her that the pure dark fountain worked. And told her to like keep going with the plan to make the second fountain. Then they ate the pie and like pretended it was like a goofy thing to throw us off so we wouldn't suspect that they're doing like creepy stuff. And after chapter 2, they also throw us out of the body and open the dark fountain. Like I said, probably because like they wanted, probably because they knew thanks to the second world that it was a reliable process. Just stab the earth and the dark fountain comes out and like basically yippee adventure time. They probably just wanted to get that done because they're genuinely having a connection with Susie, you know. Yeah. Wait a second. Yeah. Cause despite everything, I think Chris and Susie like genuinely have like a friendship going on, and Chris wants to genuinely have a good time with her and stuff. And they figured, hey, first time in like ever that I have a friend, but they're only my friend because I made a dark fountain and had a whole yippee adventure. So if I want to have more like time with her, I should make more dark fountains. And yeah, I think that's actually everything I have for now of this theory. The like summed up version is Carol and Rudy and maybe Asgore and Des are the knight. Her body is a suit with some remnants of her mind, which is trapped in the code. She got there after a friend attacked her and made her body glitchy and dark and unstable, and it's thanks to this instability that the knight can shapeshift, and the weapon is like very weird and undescriptive. Carol, Rudy, and Asgore. I'm gonna throw Chris in there as well. are will research the prophecy to get the plan to cause a roaring, to eliminate the barrier between light and dark, to allow death to come out of the code and return to her body. Uh, I think yeah, that's everything for now. Uh, let me just think for like a couple minutes because I just know the moment I stop recording, I'm gonna remember something important. And I'm gonna go, oh my god, guys, my bad. Wait, I forgot to mention this part. La 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 la. Hmm. This making the fountains, make sure it's safe for Noel. Carol also like she deep down cares about Noel, so that's also why like her influence when opening the fountains makes them safe. And like this also works because of Susie. We saw in chapter 4 that the world she made everything look like orange. Well, it made her look orange and Chris kind of greenish and stuff. Meanwhile, the world's opened by Chris and, according to this theory, Carol don't have this change in lighting. Even though Chris and Carol are very different people, if I'm correct about the death suit theory, I guess that's what I'm gonna call this. It was Death's remnants in the suit that like unify all the worlds. Now, okay, I know this doesn't make perfect sense because we saw Chris open a dark fountain, definitely while not being wearing Death, and the lighting turned out perfectly fine. Um, and that's because I'm not really sure this theory is correct. Like I said, I just made this for fun, and I just want to throw out there all my crazy theories I had about Deltarune so far. So in case any of this turns out being right, I can go say, guys, I knew I was right about this part. If I guess right now, if I were to come up with an explanation as to why that is the case, I'd say that at some point, Chris had to put on the death suit. Probably because Carol maybe figured at one point after the death armor was created, they're like, okay, Chris, you summoned friend. Maybe the connection that you had with the demon will like allow you to cancel whatever it did if you wear the armor and will bring death back and whatnot. That didn't work, but like maybe because it's like an unstable suit of darkness in the half alive, half dead mind, it can like sort of like retain to an extent certain traits from the different users of the suit. And so, because the first Dark Fountain ever made with the suit was the school, I. Wait, I just said something different, didn't I? I swear I said something different. Well, okay, no, okay, the way I'm gonna make up that it works right now is that, okay, let's say that in the bunker, Chris, Rudy, and Carol all put on the death armor. All the things, let's say that Chris had certain traits and like the suit was able to store it in a part of it. Rudy was able to provide like other things or something like that. And the suit also stored that. And same thing with Carol. Let me use this color. It stores the different traits or like certain like memories and intentions and whatnot inside of it. And all of this is taken into account on top of the current user of the suit when creating a dark fountain. This is why there's some certain harmony between the worlds created by Chris and created by the Knight. I think that I don't think I can come up with anything better. I guess my analysis, I can't exactly disprove it. I'll guess I'll also throw in Asgore, because why not? Everyone is tweaking out about like, oh my god, Asgore's gonna open the next Dark Fountain. It's gonna be the Flower King. It's gonna be the festival. Asgore's jealous of Sans because blah 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 blah. What, I don't know. It could be a possibility. And okay, and a thing that could be a problem with this whole theory is the fact that Des had the Des guitar. I'm not very good at drawing. We know that the code to the bunker was stored inside the guitar, which makes no sense because if it was Carol doing everything, why would she put it in there? She would already. Whoops. Like, she would already know the code. There would be no need for her to store it anywhere because that would leave evidence of her being up to something. And like, I think the reason, I think I did mention that like Rudy had to be the like primary suit user because Carol was the mayor, so she couldn't like afford to just like suddenly disappear for extended periods of time. And that guitar is not exactly this color, but like, please give me a pass. As to why she would put it there, and okay, this could potentially loop back to Des before this whole thing went down. Des was always like a rebel, as far as we're concerned. So this could mean that potentially Carol was already doing research about dark worlds and the prophecy and whatnot, and was starting to conduct some sort of like experiment in the bunker. And of course, Des caught wind of this and stole the code and hid it in her guitar. And so the event with Friend only made Carol like dig deeper into her research and focus on it more. And after Des disappeared and like Carol started maybe going through her things, maybe trying to like put some order in her room or something. I know her things seem fairly untouched, but maybe at one point she just went into the room and saw the code inside the guitar and figured, oh frick. Why she left it in there, I have no idea. But honestly, even ignoring all sorts of night theories, I have no idea why she would leave it in there and not just like take it to her office and hide it in like a sticky note or whatever. But that is my Deltarune Crazy Death suit theory. If you guys have any like crazy additions to this, let me know. Uh, don't take this too seriously. I don't expect most of this to be correct, but if any part of this ends up being right, I'm gonna be so happy if it is. So that's gonna be it for today. Have a very good day, evening, night, twilight, dawn, whatever. And I will see you the next time. I think I'm gonna make this the thumbnail, or maybe I'll just drop like a better version of this Springtrap thing to make it look more epic. I don't know. So, but I'll see. So yeah, that's gonna be it. Thank you for watching and goodbye.